Okay, we are live right now. Hey guys, this is Anmol here. Pleasure to connect with each one of you. Vinay says excited already. Love to have you, Vinay. You know, you bring a lot of positive energy. I have Bipla Bendu who's saying hi. Hi, Bipla. Pleasure to connect with you. Got some other folks as well. So, guys, this is, we don't have an agenda here right now. The whole idea is, you could ask anything related to sales and marketing, and I would be more than happy to answer your questions, right? So there's no fixed agenda. The floor is open. Go ahead and shoot your questions that you have, and I would love to address them and help you with these challenges. Just write down in the chat if my video is a little shaky. That's what I feel. There might just be a slight lag. So just bear with me if there is a slight lag. Maybe it's the network which is playing funny. All right, so go ahead folks, go ahead and shoot your questions. Just be specific about your questions. Don't get too generic. I would want to answer it in detail, so phrase your question in such a manner that I have a good context to it as well, right? So that I do justice to what you guys are asking me right now. Okay, so go ahead, shoot your questions. We have about, okay, a lot of other folks will be joining us as well shortly. We've got about 11 people with us, and no, we got it's going on and off. So now we have 7, so that number keeps ticking. Anyway, so if you're watching this, guys, do write down on chat what your specific queries are. Remember, this is only about sales and marketing, right? So anything in the, whether it falls into the sales or marketing domain, feel free to shoot your questions. Okay, looks like everyone's in listening mode today. Uh, okay, I'm going to share with you one insight, and of course, feel free to ask your questions. So, I've learned that the best closing technique, okay, I'm going to hold on to that. Need some data on sales gift we can plan for CEO manager, how to plan with minimum budget. Okay, interesting question, Bipla. Very interesting question. Gifts are important. Gifts make you feel happy. No one says no to a good gift. Couple of points to note. When you're giving gifts in a professional environment, it's very important that it doesn't come across as something, other than just a simple gift, right? I mean, you know what I'm getting to. It should not be seen as, uh, which word, I don't want to say it, but it should not come off as something which is not appropriate, right? So be careful there. The second thing, you see, a lot of these CEOs get all the gifts. They get nice t-shirts, pens, expensive pens, coffee mugs, and a whole lot of things, right? So they're already receiving a lot of this. You need to be innovative in what you're giving, right? So I think that's where the whole innovation is. You've got to be innovative. You just can't give a coffee mug that's done and dusted, right? So you've got to be very creative about the whole process. So like let me give you an example. Let's say, the festive season is around. As a CEO, what do you think is right now the most important thing that I would want to have, which I can use on a day-to-day basis? It could be, multiple credit card holder kind of a pouch, or it could be, uh, a visiting card holder, which is very, very, what do you say, beautiful and very utility friendly. So think of ways what a CEO wants. It's not about what gift you want to give. It's about what the other person really wants. Thin line of difference between the two. My intention is to get the inquiry when there is a project. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, giving gifts is more of a recall strategy, when they use it every day. So that's what I said. The metric that you want to track is giving that gift so that the person uses it every day and sees your branding so that he'll remember you, right? So be creative. Look at it, what the person wants. Manoj says, how can I get real estate genuine leads? Okay, that's a very good point. Genuine leads, because you will get leads, but how many of them are genuine? So Manoj, how are you generating leads at this point of time? Take me through your funnel right now. How are you generating leads at this point of time? And then I'll be able to comment better. And when you say real estate, are you talking about commercial real estate, residential. If residential, you're talking about villas, you're talking about 2 BHK houses. uh, you know be more specific so that I can give you the appropriate channel. Okay. So Bipla Bendu says thank you. Yeah, Bipla Bendu, so now you have a starting point at least. uh, you can gift me a visiting card holder as well. Right? I'm just kidding, man. But yeah, I think that's something that I want right now, because our visiting card is in the form of a note, and carrying it in the wallet is very confusing, so I'm looking at that. So if you can give me that, nothing like it. Okay. So coming back, Manoj, yeah, do be more specific of what you are talking about when you say real estate. W- Only then I will be able to answer that precisely. Okay, anyways, coming back to what I was talking earlier, one of the best closing techniques is building a pipeline, guys. Right? I know this sounds very contrary, because you see, if you have a good pipeline, your whole attitude changes, the way you talk to a client changes, your body language starts reflecting that confidence, right? Your voice modulation, the command that you have, all this smacks of a lot of confidence, right? So if you really want to increase your close rate, fill your pipeline. When you have like 30 customers with you, waiting to be sold to, at the back of your mind, look, you are going to close like a good 10. Even if you close 10%, you're done with your quotas, and the month is going to end very well. So you should aim to build that pipeline for you, and then because that there are so many clients out there, you'll be less desperate. What happens if you have only 3 clients a month and you need to convert all 3? You will become desperate in the follow-ups. You'll follow up more than what is needed, and what will eventually happen is this will show up to the client. The client will sense that, look, you really want this to go through, and then the negotiating table is on the other side, right? So moral of the story is for you to build a big pipeline, a pipeline which is healthy, a pipeline which you can tap into. And over a period of time, if you just play the game of building the pipeline, trust me, your business will go to the next level. Let's assume, even if you're bad in sales, okay, I know we are in sales training, but I'm going to make that statement. Even if you're bad in sales, you're not able to convince people, somewhere you lack the power of storytelling, you don't know what it takes to engage with customers. But if your pipeline is full, trust me, you will still be able to close clients. And imagine if you improve your selling skills. So if you have a good pipeline and you improve on your selling skills, then you are going to the next level altogether. How to improve communication skill? Objective is, I want to sell inside the organization and outside. If I don't do it, I don't make a sell, and also people don't value me. Yeah. See, sales is a lot of your ability to express yourself. Remember, sales is not about impressing the client, it's about expressing yourself. There's a thin line of difference. So if you go and talk to a client and you think it's a lovely show that you're going to put up, no, it's all about your ability to convey your message in a very effective manner. So it's extremely crucial, guys, for you to work on your communication skills. So when I say communication skills, I'm talking about your body language, because there is a 738 principle. In any communication, 55% is your body language, right? 38% is your tonality, and only 7% are the actual words that you use, right? So let's say if I were to tell you that I love you, right? Now what happened there? The tonality didn't seem like I really love you, guys, right? That was not the tonality. So you're not going to get the message, even though the words were the same. But what if I say I love you? Right? So words again are the same, the tonality is very different, so the message is also very different. So a lot of people think it's all about the words. Words are important, no doubt about it, but you've got to focus on your tonality, which is a good 38%, and 55% is the body language. People can't detect body language consciously, but subconsciously they're picking it up. For instance, if you have your hands in the pocket and you're speaking, people know that these are typically when you have a superiority complex, where you have some attitude issues, so to speak. That's when your hands go in your pockets. Consciously they won't pick it up, subconsciously they do. So you got to work in your communication skills. Let me give you 3 tips. First thing, join a platform called Toastmasters. I think that's where I learned all my communication skills from. I've been a member of that club for the last 10 years, and it's been a game changer for me. So I joined when I was in college, from someone who was scared to speak even to two people, to address audiences of even 2,000 people. And all of that credit has to go to Toastmasters. For those who don't know, Toastmasters is a platform where we practice public speaking and leadership skills, largely public speaking. So you go there every Friday evening, and then you're called onto stage and you speak. Doesn't matter whether you speak good or bad, you get a round of applause and you get a lot of feedback on how you can speak better. So I started doing that. I would go there every week, every single week. Imagine, for the last 10 years. So I put in those hours. So there's no silver bullet that if you have it, or there's a magic pill that you take the pill, you become an overnight champion in communication skills. It's a process. You can start off with Toastmasters, really a great platform. Second, read a lot. I used to, at one point of time, I used to read the newspaper for about 4 hours. That's again helped me, with my language skills as well. So reading a lot helps, especially, editorials, not just the news, but editorials. That's one. And yeah, these are a couple of tips which can really help you. And the third one is just do it. That's about it. Don't think so much. Got a presentation to make, get those opportunities, right? It's all about stage time. It's all about how many times you can speak on stage, how many times you can be in front of the customer, eye to eye, belly to belly. That's when sales are actually being made. So I hope, Vipla, that you got your answer. Communication skills, I would say. Warren Buffett says it. Forget me. Warren Buffett, the one of the world's wealthiest man and a legendary investor. He was asked that if there's one skill that you would not trade off for anything else, like if I were to take away all your skills except one, what would it be? He said public speaking, right? And if a guy of his stature is saying it, then you can only imagine the kind of importance that he's attributed to this skill. So extremely crucial. uh, I need an exercise to work on this. Can you guide me? I want to sell an idea in an organization which will help my organization. Yeah, so that's more of influencing skills that you're talking about, Bipla. That you've got to get a buy-in from your internal stakeholders so that you can convince people outside of it, right? So these are influencing skills. Yeah, you're talking about convincing your management, right? So again, the whole concept here is with him, what's in it for me. So if I'm on the board of your company, you pitch to me. Don't pitch about what you want. You've got to make the pitch sound that, look, if I do this, my mission is accomplished, my goal is accomplished. That's what your pitch should be. So if you have a new idea for the organization, don't talk about, hey, I have this new idea, I spent like 3 weeks doing it, and I think this is one of the best thing, it's not there in the market right now. No, that's your side of the story. If you're pitching to me, you should be talking about, hey, Anmol, I was just thought of this idea, and if we implement it, Anmol, you could increase your market share by 15%, cut down costs by 3%, and gives you a better foothold into the market so that you can do your branding a lot better, right? And I'm like, hey, that's interesting, because it's all me centric. It's not you centric, it's me centric. And that's how it will make a lot of sense to me. And that's when I will take you seriously. So don't talk about you, talk about me. And if you talk about where I want to go and you show me that you can take me there, I will take you along with me there. That's the moral of the story, right? So I like it. Bipla is very good with asking questions. Always appreciate that attitude. Bipla always make sure that this guy is always at the forefront. He never loses an opportunity. Hats off to you, Bipla, because I love that attitude. You've got the hunger. You've got the hunger. You're always making sure you're learning. So I must say, just by that skill, Bipla, I know you're going to go to the next level. Just the fact that you need answers every time you ask me questions, you don't really care whether it's the right or the wrong question. You're always asking it. Really appreciate it, Bipla. Got it. Tell what they want to hear. That's right. Absolutely. That's what uh, you've got to talk about. Okay, guys. The rest of you folks, feel free to sales tracking tools. Nilesh, when you say tracking, are you talking about sales guys on the field who you want to be tracking? Is that what you're referring to? A lot of CRMs help you do that, right? Yeah. So Nilesh, there are a lot of, again, there are a lot of CRMs out there into the market. And again, depends a lot on your industry. It depends a lot on your budget as well. What is the requirement? But most good, like Salesforce, they help you track. sales guys in terms of the appointments that they have to go to, where they are, there's geolocation, what happened at the meeting, what's the next step for taking action. So there are a lot of good CRM. Salesforce is of course one of the pioneers of sales CRM, at least. So that if you've got the budget, you can definitely give it a shot. Yeah, give Salesforce a shot. If you want to, if you don't have that kind of a budget, uh, you could check out a Zoho. So we've used Zoho as well, fairly good. It captures most of the details as well. And of course Zoho is an Indian product, so gives you that, that, yeah, you're more forced to Indians. So I think it's a fairly stable product as well. These guys have done a good job. The entire business suite of Zoho is actually pretty good. We've used 4 to 5, Zoho social, email, CRM, and sometimes their webinars. So do try out Zoho as well. And I think Zoho gives credits. If you are a startup, Zoho also gives you some credit, so you can look upon their website. Whether CRM is important or simple Excel sheet is okay for a small organization, right? So depends on the size again. If you are a very small organization, an Excel sheet will suffice. But eventually you want to move to a CRM, because look, even if you have like, you know 30-40 leads coming in, it's going to be very difficult to per month. If it's going to be very difficult for you to track it month on month, it's going to be very difficult for you to track it. So each one has its own follow-up cycle. So you might want to track all this on a CRM, right? And because look, that's the most organized way to do it, instead of having an Excel, marking the rows in green and then updating it, and then marking another cell in purple and saying, okay, give me an alarm when the call to action is needed. So it gets a little dicey, it gets a little confusing as well with Excel. So I suggest you have a CRM. I know initially even an Excel can suffice, but CRM brings in that discipline, right? And it's very important. If you have that discipline right now, you will have that discipline down the line as well. But migrating from Excel to CRM will be a different ball game altogether. And especially if you're doing that transition when you're scaling up, things are going to get very difficult. So I suggest you move to a CRM, right? So I hope that answered your question. Guys, bring it on. I'm ready, guys. Bring it on. I am successful with SMEs. How to go after big account? I want to change my clients. Please help. Nilesh, that's a good question. See, there's an 80-20 rule, guys. There's an 80-20 rule. It's called the Pareto's principle, which says that 80% of your revenue is actually coming from 20% of your clients. Okay, that's the 80-20 rule. It's applicable in all areas of your life. For instance, 80% of what comes in the exam is from 20% of the syllabus that you haven't studied. That's how it is. That's how it is. Or 80% of the problems caused in your life are by 20% of the people. Yes or no? These people are also called relatives. Okay, I'm just joking. Yeah. So I'm gonna. By the way, I'm gonna try stand up very soon. So I'm gonna send you a video of that. So coming back to the question, Nilesh. So 80-20 rule in business: 80% of your revenue is only generated by 20% of the clients, which means that the remaining 80% of your clientele is only contributing to 20% of the revenue, and the cost to service that 80% clientele is huge, right? So that's why you need to create an ICP, which is an ideal customer profile, where only the guys who are really adding to your revenues, that's what you need. That's what you need. You don't need everyone. Just because someone is ready to pay you money does not mean they are your customer, right? We get tempted. Hey, the person is ready to give you money, okay, I will offer that service to you. No, you're spending a lot of time servicing them, right? So you have to create an ideal customer profile, which is very important. Nilesh says I agree. Perfect. Now, how do you do it? So this is called key account management, right? When you're going after big accounts, it's not going to be a simple sales process. You need a dedicated key account manager. Let's say you are pitching to a corporation like Parle-G. Let's assume that Parle-G is your client, okay, or a client that you want on board. Okay, so you would ideally have a special team which is cracking big accounts. Okay, because the kind of expertise needed is very different from cracking another smaller a smaller account, right? So you need a special team which only has the responsibility of working with big accounts, getting a foothold in that. So there's one person who's probably working on who are the influencers in these organizations. Okay, who are the influencers at Parleji, connecting with them on LinkedIn, building some rapport, finding out who should you pitch to, and then reaching out to them, calling for, you have someone who's setting up an appointment, the other senior folk is going and meeting them, probably a guy who's doing client servicing, in the sense if you've got the project. So you'll have a special team which is just going after this particular segment, because the lifetime value of a large account is huge, right? Say if you crack a deal with Parleji, and then maybe, I don't know, your is a CRM software, let's assume, and if they give you the account, we're typically talking tens of lakhs of rupees a year, right, in terms of revenue. So you need a special team, a different set of expertise to actually crack them, right? So which is very different from what you would do if you are selling to smaller accounts, where there's not a hierarchy, where the buying process is very different. So if you're cracking Parleji, they will have a very different buying process, they'll have a very different structure, and you need to understand that structure before you pitch. So I hope you got my answer, Nilesh, which is to have a special team, which is typically into key management, key account management, and they're working constantly to crack those accounts. How do you manage sales team? We are good ourselves, but when you have a team, you have no idea how to manage or train them. The team is talented, but I've never managed a team. Okay. So, Bipla, what you have to do is, as an individual contributor, you might be great. Okay. Hats off to you. But if you can't manage a team of sales guys, you'll always remain an individual contributor. That's where the story kind of doesn't, look very good. So you're doing good in sales, right? Your next obvious thing to do is become a sales manager, get sales guys reporting to you, and from there a regional manager, and probably the national head, and then the VP sales. So that's your progression, right? So you've got to build these skills where you are actually managing these sales people. Now, for that, again, you've got to be a sales guy first. You've got to be a sales guy first to manage your sales team, so that you know the game in and out, which you do, which I know you do, so which is great. So you've got to delve into people management, right? So when you're handling a sales team, you've got to understand what motivates a sales guy, right? What gets him to go onto the field and bring business? What gets him to do an extra call, post office hours? What gets him to probably spend more time with a customer just to build a relationship, so that later down the line it can be monetized even better? So the simplest way is, say you have a team of three people, you've got to build a connection with them at a very personal level, where you really understand what they want, and then you align all the objectives of your company with respect to what they want. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have a fresher joining your team, and this guy wants to become, let's say he wants to become a sales manager himself, right? So two ways: either you look upon it as competition, hey, how can this guy be a sales manager? I just got promoted as a sales manager, look, he wants to become a sales manager, take my position, and that too in 2 years. He doesn't understand the game of sales, this is stupidity. So either you go on that track and you keep sabotage, you keep you don't take it seriously, don't take him seriously, you just tell him, go get me the numbers. Versus saying that, look, you want to be a sales manager, of course, why 2 years? You can be a sales manager next year, right? But to do that, this is what you need to do. You need to probably show sales, do record breaking sales, probably take us to a new market where other salespeople have failed. And if you do that, then you will be noticed. And if you're noticed, definitely the company has the culture to actually promote you. We don't go by seniority, we go by merit, right? If you come with that mindset, Bipla, that look, if he grows, even I grow, right? If he becomes a sales manager, probably he will then be reporting to me, so I become a skip level manager. So if you're ready to let your sales team grow and not be insecure about it, where you build connection with them at a very deep level, where you are personally invest them grow, because you know that if they grow, then the company grows, that's when they'll be motivated, right? That's when they'll be motivated. Sales is a tough job. They face rejections every single day, in a day multiple times, right? So your ego will take a hit, it will take a beating, right? So you've got to understand them. So this is the simplest technique that I'm telling you right now. Get personal. That's all my answer is: get personal, help them achieve their goals, they will help you achieve your targets. Right. So I'm sure Bipla, you would be happy with that answer. If not, let me know. Uh, Great. Good to know that, Bipla. You are getting the maximum out of this AMA. I appreciate that. Okay. Any more questions, guys? Shoot. Any more questions that you have? This is the best time to go for it. How to join your course? Nilesh, what course are you referring to? So it's not typically a standard course that we offer. We first understand your needs, Nilesh. Uh, what is it that you want to accomplish? That's the approach we have. It's not so much about, that, hey, we have this product, come be a part of the course, you'll become a sales champion overnight. Doesn't work that way. Maybe we can have a call offline. I really need to understand what your requirements are, what your challenges are, what your pain points are, and then see, in which of our courses you actually fit in, and then you need to evaluate the kind of value we bring. And yeah, that's the natural progression. So if you can just tell me your biggest challenge right now, Nilesh. Tell me your biggest challenge right now. I can throw some light on it. The single biggest challenge that you face, and we'll be happy to. Big account. Got it. Yeah. So So yeah, that was the starting point, Nilesh, which I was talking about. To crack big account, you need a different mindset altogether. Let's do one thing. We'll talk about it offline, because with big accounts, it also starts. How you're going to get a foot in the door. There's going to be an offline strategy, online strategy. If it's online, what kind of channels are we talking? What's the best way to reach these stakeholders, right? And what's the kind of investment that we're ready to make to market, and then probably what's the timeline, that runway that we have to close those leads. What I'll do, Nilesh, is possibly get onto your call with you offline, where I want to understand a little more about your product or service. Who are your current set of customers? What's the kind of close rate, number of leads, sales cycle time, average ticket size? So once I have access to all this information, I will ping you on WhatsApp. Perfect, Nilesh. I think that's good. Ping me on WhatsApp, and we will take it forward from there. Okay. Bipla is saying, how to manage time as a salesman, as you are always busy in meetings with client or technical team or management. So it's difficult to focus where we are going. See, in fact, tomorrow we have a session on productivity, Bipla. Let me check with JD if I can get you in. Okay, I have to check with JD. So this session is called busyness uh, versus business. Okay, there's a difference being between busyness and doing business. So all these meetings are just pretending that you are busy. Okay, at least for sales guys. I've been both an IT guy and a sales guy. uh, I think in both the cases, meetings are just way a way to probably, I don't know. I am not too fond of meetings, right? I think Amazon has a culture of just 5 minutes meetings. Just stand up and just talk and then go back to your work, because I feel a sales guy, the real work is done when you are eye to eye, belly to belly with a customer, right? So the only part that you need to manage is FaceTime with the customer. That's all you have to manage. You got to make sure that in a day's time, if you just measure how much time are you talking to a customer, okay, that's all you need to measure, and you'll be surprised that a lot of sales guys, 90% of their day is spent on, I don't know what, on probably, I don't know, managing a lead, doing back end work. That's not sales that's not sales. You've got to be in front of your customer every single time, and at least 30% of the day should be spent in front of the customer. The sales cycle is long. So many times I spend in selling internally. Then I feel that there is some bureaucratic process within the organization which might just be stifling the growth, right? Because I don't think internally you should be spending that time. It doesn't make sense, right? I mean, why would, if you're a sales guy, you better be on the field or on call with the client. I don't want you to be selling something, getting a approval, or having a discussion. Once a week is fine, that's about it. Once the strategy is set, after that it's just rolling. So not too happy with this, as in, like, I'm not sure if this is the right way, right? 90% of the time I spend in operations, Bipla, then you're not a sales guy. I'm sorry. Sorry to say that. 90% of your time you're spending in operations and 10% in sales. I would say you're a part-time sales guy, right? You got to look at it seriously, right? Because tell your boss that, look, I'm here for sales, right? Why am I spending time preparing a report? That's not my job. Someone else is supposed to do it, right? Your management will say, you know what, we don't have the resource. Then you, like, pay me extra, right? Or get a resource, right? You got to be, I won't say rude. Don't be rude. Just be polite, but still make the point. Still make the point. Okay, Nilesh is tripping on that part-time sales guy. I told you I'm trying stand up, but I'm serious, Nilesh and Bipla. I'm serious, man. I'll tell you what. Okay, we were working with a company. And I'll tell you this is very interesting. Okay, so the reason this company got us in was, a lot of they said this is not working, that is not working, this is not working, and they were like, they had no idea. And then we studied the issue. And the only suggestion we gave, we understood that sales guys are not talking, they're just busy doing things which are not really productive. And the only thing we told that organization is cut down all of this and get these sales guys to talk more to the clients. That's all we did. And in 2.5 months, they went to the next level. Just a simple thing. And everyone was surprised because they never thought that this could even be the solution in the first place. Number one, they were not tracking the metric, they were not tracking the productive time. That was the biggest problem, and they didn't know that this is that important, right? So don't live in that illusion that, I'm going to office, I leave at 8 a.m., I come back 8 p.m., and I'm working 12 hours a day, I'm slogging my backside off. No, how much time are you spending with the client? Look, today, if you look at it in my own, I'm very happy today. I had a very productive day because since morning I've been on calls. JD's been on trainings, and today, and we decided that we're going to do this live. Every minute spent, at least I'm talking to you, right? For me, that's very productive. I'm talking to you. So if I go back today and measure my customer interaction time, whoa, I would have shot like close to 70%, which I want. Not every day is like that, but I love those days because that is the core of what we do. So good. Both Nilesh and Bipla agree with me. Nice. It's always good to have folks who agree with you. Very important in life, right? Yeah. But problem is, anything management. But the problem is when anything management ask you to do it. Oh, okay. That's very interesting. So, uh, when you know everything, management is always asking you to do it. Now, this is a lesson I learned in the second year of my corporate life, which was learn the ability to say no. Okay, because if you're yes, 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 yes every time, you're going to be bogged down. You're going to be bogged down by a lot of pressure, and then people will start taking you for granted as well, right? So if your boss asks you to do something, you're good at it, and you do it. I recently heard a joke where this guy showed up, in early in the morning. At his office hours was 9 o'clock. He showed up at 8:15 because he had to meet a friend, and the boss caught him twice at 8:15. The third day he didn't turn up at 8:15. The boss, why are you not coming early? Why aren't you coming at the stipulated time, right? So it's called expectation management, right? With your management, yeah, it's a very thin line of difference, right? You've got to learn to say no. Like, have a proper job role, right? You're getting paid for XYZ, right? It's an honest discussion. Again, it's how you say it. If don't say it the way I'm saying it right now, because it's just an informal conversation, you got to be polite, but have an honest conversation with your boss that, look, I'm being paid for this. Right now, if you're using my expertise for report building, and I've not done that, but I'm ready to do it, either I need to be compensated extra, or you give me a roadmap that, look, if I take up additional responsibilities like this, 1 year down the line, I would be the one who wants to be promoted, right? So have that expectation matching. Yeah, so define your role, Bipla. I think there's a big confusion. So I'll tell you what. Go to your manager or your sales head, or you're the sales head, I know. So go to your management and ask them, according to you, who am I? That's all. According to you, what is my role? And they will say, of course you're a sales guy, Bipla. You're one of the most important salesmen that we have in the company. You're a sales head. And then you show, no, that look, in a day I'm spending only 10% on sales. The rest of the time I am doing operations. So I feel I'm more of an operations person, right? That's a start to a discussion, right? So again, very important, don't challenge them, don't hurt their ego, don't come across as someone who's having an argument. If you put it forward in a very, very affable manner, they will get the point. They will get the point, right? All right, we're 15 minutes down. Last 10-15 minutes is all that we have. And yeah, looks like, yeah, that's nice to know, Bipla. That is a super start. I'm sure that is a super start. And I'm sure that this will be a great starter for you to get your answers, right? So looks like we have, looks like everyone's hungry. That's why they've gone for dinner. Okay, so I'm gonna probably end this chat right now. And is there any grooming skill required for a salesman? Salesmen are all about grooming, Bipla. Uh, you gotta groom yourself every day. Like, learn something new, improve on your personality. Sales is all about making that first impression. Work on your smile. Get into power dressing. Polish your shoes better. Speak better language. Express yourself more. Be more humorous with the client. Tell them a story. Listen to their story. Don't always sell. These are all grooming skills, Bipla. These are all the things that you need to work on to go to the next level. Thank you, Nilesh. Appreciate that you found the live valuable. I will connect with you offline and we will take it forward. So that's about it, folks. Bipla, I hope you got your answer as well. I enjoyed this live. I think this was the first live, by the way. And the best part was, we just said that we didn't actually plan for it. I just decided that, look, we should do this. I told JD's like, just go for it. And yeah, that's how this live came about. But I think we will do this more often, at least once in 2 weeks, where the only agenda is that I hear out what you have to say and I give you solutions which I feel will work, which has worked previously with other organizations that we work with. And if you find value, then the day is well made. Thank you, folks. Thanks, Nilesh. Thanks, Bipla. Thanks, the other folks, for also joining in. You guys have a great evening ahead, and hoping to connect with you soon. Cheers. This is Anmol Garg from Sales5X signing out. You have a great evening.